Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're going to be having our first impressions of In Becoming a Ghost by the Faceless. Alright, so I'm going to turn this quickly to Vile here. I would like to know what he thinks of the Faceless and what he thinks of their release today. You know, what kind of background he's got.
Oh, well, fuck. Not much. You're not gonna get much out of me right now. I don't really listen to this band. I have, heard some here and there, but they've never really grabbed me. I've never really been inclined to pick up an album and check out the whole thing or anything like that. What I've heard, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. But I am kind of looking forward to trying it out. Brand new album, listening to it in its entirety from front to end, giving it a real solid chance. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, what about you?
I am a big Faceless fan. I love these guys. I'll say that Autotheism is one of my favorite albums of all time.
Wow.
Among all music, I think that is a perfect album. It is so good. And I was considering with this band trying to, do a first impressions for you to try to get you into them.
All right.
But with the news of this album coming out, I thought, you know what, might as well give them the first taste with the new album because I don't know much about it either. This album, as every Faceless album, has a completely different lineup, including Ken Sorceron doing the vocals. He's from Abigail Williams, so Michael Keane always pulling the best out for every album. It's kind of weird that it's constantly shifting the lineup, session members, touring members on the album.
Yeah.
Really wacky stuff, but I am really hyped for this album. I've heard a few of the songs a while ago. I remember hearing The Spiraling Void when it was released, I think like 2 years ago.
Really?
It was a while ago.
It's been in production for a while.
Exactly, yeah. So, but it's been a while since I've heard any of it, so I'm gonna have a pretty
That just
fresh...
set the bar up. That just raised my expectations. You're working on for that long. It better be good.
I'm expecting good stuff. Faceless is always putting out good stuff, at least for me. So anyway, we're gonna go upstairs. We're gonna listen to this album in its entirety, front to back, and we'll be right back. We're gonna let you guys know what our first impressions of In Becoming a Ghost are. Alright, we just listened to In Becoming a Ghost for the first time in its entirety, and I'm going to open the floor here and tell you guys about my least favorite song in this album and my absolute favorite song in this album from our first impression. So my least favorite song was track number 6, Shake the Disease, and I don't want to say that I kind of rated it unfairly. I feel this song was interesting at the start and throughout, which had an organ in it, which I found was interesting. Didn't really hear that in the Faceless too often before. Mm-hmm. But it sounds a lot happier than most of the Faceless's content.
A little more higher tone or something? What was it?
It was more, I don't want to say happy-go-lucky, but it was a lot brighter in terms of kind of atmosphere it built. A lot of the Faceless's music is very moody, very kind of dark and creepy in a way, especially with Michael Keane's voice.
It's weird that you say that about that song. Sorry to interrupt, but I wrote in my notes that I was getting a black metal vibe from that song.
Interesting.
So it's weird that I was getting a black metal vibe and you got a happy-go-lucky vibe.
I did get some...
Those two don't mix.
I did get some black metal vibes throughout this album. I think that's to do with the harsh vocals on it. I think that contributed a bit. But anyway, about Shake the Disease. That song sounded absolutely nothing like anything else I've heard from this band. I heard that song, I'm like, okay, this is new. A lot of the songs on this album, I don't want to say are typical Faceless songs because that kind of makes it sound like it's a bad thing. But it does sound like it's in character for the Faceless for most of these songs, but that one stood out as, this is different. Was I a fan of it? Kind of. I was more of a fan of ones that sounded more in line with other Faceless albums. Songs like Black Star, songs like The Spiraling Void. But, so I don't want to say Shake the Disease was bad, I would just say it's extremely different. And I'm interested to see it grow on me throughout a week. The highest rated song I gave, the song I gave the highest rating was Instrumental Illness. I thought this was incredible. I thought it was just the musical mastery of the Faceless packed into 2 minutes. That's the only problem I have with that song. It was extremely short, coming out of Ghost Reprise, which sounded cool. Mm-hmm. And so I just loved how it went, it just sounded like a jam, to be honest. They're just like, yo, you want to just jam and get some ideas? Yeah, sure. And then they recorded that, and like, oh, we could have that as a track. But that was my favorite, even though it's so short. I just, loved that one. Anyway, what did you think of this album?
You know what, man? It was better than I thought it was going to be. I did enjoy it. Very conflicted, though, as to how I really feel about it. When I was rating these songs, not only was I writing similar notes for a lot of them, but I was also rating them a lot similar. I gave most of the album, like most of the songs, a 5 out of 10, which is basically right in the middle. And the reason I did that is because I didn't really quite know how I felt about the songs. Because like a song would start and I'd be like, okay, yeah, this is cool, this is rad. And then, you know, it might, the timing changed or some instruments changed, or you get like a flute here and a weird instrument there, or every song had this weird section in it that was just, it was odd. It was completely out of place, but still fit the song perfectly, which I guess is like genius. You know, like this, it seems like really good songwriting. Musicianship was really good across the board. I mean, what I took away from it is basically that I want more, because I really want to learn the songs and study the songs and really get to know the songs, so I can really start to pick out what I do really like about it and maybe discard what I don't like about it. Now, there are a couple things that I don't like about it right off the bat. The intro track is like an interlude type of, like, not really much music, just talking. I'm not really a fan of that. And then there's another one, I think track 8 or something like that.
It's like near the end.
Yeah, track 8 is another interlude track. Out of a 10-track album, having 2 of those, I mean, one is too much for me. I don't like that. It's good for one purpose, and that's setting an atmosphere, but I don't really feel like I need that.
But wouldn't
me personally, what?
Wouldn't you say that the first track, at least the title track, did a good job at creating, like, setting the stage for the album?
It did, and that's what I'm saying, is that a track like that does set a stage for the album. It sets, you know, the tone, the atmosphere for the album. But I don't particularly need that for me personally. An album can just, bam, kick off track 1 and get into it right away. You don't need something to kind of ease you into it like this does. I'm not saying it's a totally bad thing, but for me personally, I could do without it. Anything else negative that I can say? It might be a little too proggy for me. I'm not a huge prog fan. It kind of reminded me of, if you were to take like Ne Obliviscaris and like Veil of Maya and just like made them fuck, and then they had a baby, and then bam, the Faceless comes out. That's what this reminded me of. Now, I like Ne Obliviscaris, not a huge fan of Veil of Maya, but it's got those elements, that like metalcore, that technicality behind it. The clean vocalist, the main
Michael Keane,
his voice reminded me of Jim Morrison. Sounds like Jim Morrison to me, not exactly, but very similar. The harsh vocalist, the guy from Abigail Williams, he sounds cool. So the vocals across the board on this album were really nice to me. All in all, I was more impressed than I thought I would be. I like some of the guitar solos, some of the bass lines, and you know, the song arrangements and all that stuff. Overall, it was good. For my first impressions, I was good, and I'm looking forward to, you know, giving this a nice, solid, thorough chance through the rest of the week, and, you know, getting a real good judgment on these songs, because I was really conflicted on a lot of these songs. They're kind of all over the place, and I didn't feel like it sucked. I didn't feel like it was bad, but I was having a hard time getting it. I don't know how to put it. I don't know how to word it, but I don't know. I think it could grow on me.
All right. Well, it's, you know, I mean, we'll be taking a week to listen to it in its entirety. And hopefully it will grow on you, because I loved this album. Just on the first impression, I love the Faceless.
Yep.
I thought it was great. I love the atmosphere. I love Michael Keane's voice. There's just so much I love about this band. I personally liked the harsh vocals of Jeff Fico, who was on Autotheism. I like his a little bit better than the Abigail Williams guy. But not to take away from his performance on this album, because I thought it was great. I just personally prefer Autotheism slightly in terms of the harsh vocals.
This might grow on you too, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Once again, 1 week, we're both going to listen to it on our own, and we're going to be back to give you guys our final review of In Becoming a Ghost by the Faceless. So be sure to like, comment on the video if you're interested in telling us your opinions on this album, and subscribe for more if you liked it. Remember, 1 week, and we'll be back with our review of In Becoming a Ghost by the Faceless. I'm TV Fish.
And I'm Vile Self.
We'll see you guys later.
Yeah.